Lucy Anderson clutched her son Michael's tiny hand as they stepped into the bustling chaos of Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Her heart pounded as she scanned the flight information screens. Their one-way ticket to Seattle was more than just a journey. It was their escape from a past that refused to let go. Michael, just 6 years old, held his beloved stuffed dinosaur tightly. His eyes sparkled with innocent excitement, unaware of the storm his mother was battling inside. Lucy had spent months working double shifts, cleaning offices at night and waitressing during the day just to afford these tickets. Everything they owned was packed in a single suitcase. They had nowhere to return to. She exhaled a shaky breath. "Almost there," she whispered, squeezing Michael's hand. But as they approached the boarding gate, her stomach dropped. A stern-looking airline representative shook her head. "I'm so sorry, Miss Anderson. The flight is overbooked." Lucy's throat tightened. "But we have confirmed tickets." "I understand, ma'am, but the airline had to accommodate elite passengers first. We can put you on a later flight." Michael tugged at her sleeve. "Mommy, I'm hungry." Lucy's vision blurred. They had nowhere to go, no extra money for food or hotel. She swallowed her pride and pleaded, "Please, isn't there anything you can do?" "I have a child." The woman hesitated, then sighed. "I'm really sorry." Lucy felt her knees weaken. Just as she was about to collapse under the weight of despair, a voice cut through the tension. "I'll give up my seat." Lucy turned. A tall, broad-shouldered man in a tailored navy blue suit stepped forward. His sharp features were softened by kind, piercing blue eyes. The airline representative looked startled. "Sir, are you sure? You have a first-class ticket." "I'm sure." The man's gaze met Lucy's. "Take it." Lucy's lips parted in shock. "I can't." "Yes, you can." He smiled, kneeling to Michael's level. "Hey, buddy, ever flown first class before?" Michael's eyes widened. "No. Well, today's your lucky day." The flight attendant hesitated, but then nodded, handing Lucy the ticket. Lucy's hands trembled as she whispered, "Why are you doing this?" The man shrugged. "Because sometimes people just need a break." Before she could thank him properly, the boarding call rang out. With a final glance at the mystery man who had just changed their fate, Lucy picked up her suitcase, held Michael close, and walked toward the plane, toward a new beginning. Lucy settled into the luxurious first-class seat, still in disbelief. The soft leather, the extra legroom, it felt like another world compared to the cramped economy seats she had expected. Michael, his tiny legs swinging excitedly, clutched his stuffed dinosaur and looked around in wonder. "Mommy, are we rich now?" he whispered. Lucy let out a breathless laugh. "No, sweetheart. Someone just did something really nice for us." As she buckled Michael in, the weight of everything that had just happened pressed down on her. Who was that man? Why would he give up his seat for a stranger? She glanced around, but he was nowhere in sight. A flight attendant approached with a warm smile. "Would you and your son like something to drink?" Lucy hesitated. She was used to stretching every dollar, always worried about money. But then she remembered, this seat wasn't hers to begin with. "Just water, please," she said softly. Michael, however, had no such hesitation. "Can I have orange juice?" The flight attendant chuckled. "Of course." As the plane took off, Lucy clutched Michael's hand. Her heart pounded with a mix of fear and relief. Fear of what lay ahead, relief that for now they were safe. Halfway through the flight, as Michael dozed off, a deep voice startled her. "I see he likes dinosaurs." Lucy turned, and there he was, the man from the airport. He stood in the aisle, now dressed in a casual button-down shirt and jeans, his suit jacket draped over one arm. She blinked in surprise. I thought you weren't on the flight." He smiled, settling into the empty seat beside her. "I took the next one. Figured I'd check in on you too." Lucy studied him. He didn't look like someone who gave up a first-class seat on a whim. His confident, effortless demeanor hinted at wealth, but there was something else, something genuine. "Why did you help us?" she finally asked. His expression softened. "Because I've seen that look before." Lucy frowned. "What look?" The one that says, I have no backup plan, no safety net. If this doesn't work, I don't know what I'll do. Her breath hitched. He had seen right through her. He extended a hand. Daniel Harrison. Harrison. The name sounded familiar, but she couldn't place it. Lucy Anderson, she said hesitantly, shaking his hand. Daniel glanced at Michael, who was snoring softly, his little arms wrapped around his stuffed dinosaur. Cute kid. Lucy's protective instincts flared. If you're expecting something in return for what you did. Daniel held up a hand, amused. Relax. No strings attached. I just like helping when I can. Lucy exhaled. Well, thank you. He nodded, then leaned back in his seat. So, why Seattle? Lucy hesitated. How much should she say? To start over, she finally admitted. Daniel studied her for a moment. Running from something? Her pulse spiked. Was she that obvious? Not running, she said carefully. Just moving forward. He nodded, not pushing further. Seattle's a good place for that. For the rest of the flight, they talked in small, careful steps. Lucy learned that Daniel had a sister, Emily, who had struggled as a single mother. He knew what it was like to see someone fight to survive. When the plane landed, Lucy felt something unexpected, a sense of hope. But as they stepped into the Seattle airport, her phone buzzed. A text from a blocked number. You can run, Lucy, but you can't hide. Her blood ran cold. James had found them. Lucy's fingers tightened around her phone as she stared at the message. James. Her breath hitched. He had found them. How? She had changed numbers, deleted social media, and booked the flight under her sister's name. Had she made a mistake? Michael tugged at her hand. Mommy, are we going to Aunt Rachel's now? She forced a smile, shoving her phone into her pocket. Yes, sweetheart. Let's go. Daniel was watching her closely. Something wrong? Lucy hesitated. Could she trust him? No. She barely knew him. Just tired, she lied. Daniel didn't look convinced, but didn't push. I'll grab a cab for you. She wanted to refuse, but the exhaustion was setting in. Thank you. Minutes later, they were in the back of a sleek black SUV. Michael nestled between them, staring out the window in awe. Seattle's skyline stretched before them, the lights glittering against the night sky. Is Aunt Rachel nice? Michael asked. Lucy smiled, ruffling his hair. The nicest. Rachel had been her lifeline, the only person who had believed her when she finally left James. She had begged Lucy to come to Seattle for months, promising safety, stability, a fresh start. As the car pulled up to Rachel's house, a charming two-story home with warm yellow lights glowing from the windows, Lucy felt a wave of relief. Rachel burst out the front door before Lucy even knocked, pulling her into a tight hug. You're here. Lucy barely held back tears. We made it. Rachel knelt to hug Michael. Look at you. You've grown so much. Michael giggled. Mom says I'm going to be taller than her soon. Rachel grinned. I believe it. Daniel lingered by the car, watching the reunion. Lucy turned to him. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. He hesitated, then pulled a card from his pocket. If you ever need anything, call me. Lucy hesitated before taking it. Take care of yourself, Lucy, he said, before stepping back into the car. As the SUV pulled away, Lucy clutched the card, her thoughts swirling. Daniel Harrison. Why did that name still sound familiar? Inside, Rachel ushered them into the living room, where a plate of cookies and a warm cup of tea were waiting. Lucy sank into the couch. For the first time in months, she felt safe. But that safety was short-lived. The next morning, she woke up to Rachel shaking her. Lucy, there's a car outside. Lucy's stomach dropped. She hurried to the window. A black sedan, parked across the street. Terror clawed at her throat. Rachel whispered, Is it him? Lucy swallowed hard. I don't know. But deep down, she did know. James had found them, and he wasn't going to stop. Lucy's hands trembled as she gripped the curtain, peering out at the black sedan parked across the street. Rachel's voice was hushed but firm. We should call the police. Lucy's mind raced. What would that do? James was careful. He knew the law. knew how to bend it to his will. He had made sure there were no official restraining orders against him. "We need proof," Lucy whispered. Rachel tightened her jaw. "Then we get proof." Michael stirred on the couch, rubbing his eyes. "Mommy?" Lucy rushed over, forcing a smile. "Hey, baby, go back to sleep, okay?" Michael nodded sleepily and curled up again. Rachel motioned toward the back door. "Come with me." In the kitchen, she pulled out her laptop. "I've been digging into James's business. He's under federal investigation for fraud." Lucy's breath caught. "What?" Rachel nodded. "I found a news article about a pending case, but they don't have solid evidence yet." Lucy's heart pounded. The safety deposit box. James had given it to her years ago, telling her to hold on to it in case something happened. She had always been too afraid to open it. She grabbed Rachel's arm. "We need to get to the bank." Rachel hesitated. "Now!" Lucy glanced at the window. The car was still there, but no one had come out. "Now!" They slipped out the back door, moving quickly toward Rachel's car. As they pulled away, Lucy checked the rearview mirror. The black sedan didn't follow. Maybe they had a chance. The bank smelled of paper and polished wood. Lucy's stomach churned as she handed over the key to the safety deposit box. The banker nodded and led them into a small room. With a deep breath, Lucy opened the box. Inside was a flash drive and a stack of documents. Rachel grabbed the papers, her eyes widening. "Lucy, this is bank fraud. Offshore accounts. He's been laundering millions." Lucy's hand shook. "This is what the feds need." Rachel took out her phone. "We're calling Daniel." Lucy blinked. "Daniel." Rachel gave her a look. "Lucy, do you know who he is?" Lucy shook her head. "He's Daniel Harrison, CEO of Harrison and Company. His company funds legal aid for domestic abuse victims." Lucy's heart pounded. Rachel continued. "He's been helping women like you for years. He didn't give up that first-class seat by accident, Lucy. He knew." Lucy felt dizzy. Why hadn't he told her? Rachel dialed his number. The moment he answered, Rachel spoke fast. "Daniel, it's Rachel. We have evidence against James. Where can we meet?" A pause. Then, "My office. Now." Daniel's office was sleek and modern, towering above Seattle in a high-rise building. He stood as they entered, his expression unreadable. "You're safe?" Lucy nodded. "For now." She set the documents on his desk. "This is everything." Daniel flipped through the papers, his face hardening. "This is enough to put him away." Relief crashed over Lucy like a wave. Daniel made a call. Within minutes, a team of lawyers and federal agents arrived. It all happened so fast. Papers were signed. The evidence was handed over. Warrants were issued. By nightfall, James had been arrested. Lucy sat in Rachel's living room, the weight of the world lifting from her shoulders. Michael played on the floor, blissfully unaware. Rachel squeezed Lucy's hand. "It's over." Lucy looked up at Daniel, who had stayed with them. His eyes were warm. "You're free now, Lucy." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I don't know how to thank you." He smiled. "Just don't run anymore." For the first time in years, Lucy didn't have to. And as Daniel sat beside her, his presence steady and sure, she knew this was the beginning of something new.